Hey, Remax Associates, Matt Barton here, your principal broker for this week's Principal Broker Minute or Two. And today I wanted to briefly cover with you escrow instructions, when to use them and when not to use them. I'm going to share with you my screen here. I get a lot of interesting things that come across in escrow instructions that we then have to go and instruct the agents to use a different instrument or document because they've incorrectly used escrow instructions. So here are escrow instructions on screen. The title is Real Estate Brokerage Commissions, escrow instructions. Okay. Part of the problem is we have this section 2 here, which allows agents to write in anything they feel, and that's where we tend to see the problem. But if we look at section 3, and I want to read this agreement supersedes and replaces any previous compensation agreements between who? Compensation agreements between seller's brokerage and buyer's brokerage, not between agent and client, not between broker and client, not between seller and buyer. And those are the things that I tend to see crop up in section 2. So remember, this is broker to broker credits or changes or modifications to compensation that was already offered, typically via the MLS. Okay. So one of the most common things we see here, this document used for incorrectly, is credits to the seller or buyer from the agent. And we see terms like agent to give $1,500 of their commission to the client. Okay, first of all, fundamentally, it's the wrong document. Secondly, we cannot give commissions to our clients. Right? That is a violation of DRE rules. You cannot pay or share your commissions with an unlicensed individual. What you can do is have your brokerage give your client a credit at closing. And so if we're going to do something like that, the appropriate vehicle is an addendum to the ERS or an addendum to the exclusive buyer broker agreement. And the verbiage should be as simple as this. Please do not put in all the explanation of why you're giving the credit. That tends to just muddy the waters and cause problems. It should be something as simple as this: brokerage to credit buyer or brokerage to credit seller, X dollars at closing, period. It's not required to explain why. If you need an explanation, include that in an email or whatever that accompanies it, but not in the document itself. Okay, the third thing I want to talk about related to this is sometimes we have a buyer broker, for instance, where we have signed our client up and they've agreed to pay a 3% brokerage fee to the company for the efforts expended in their behalf. And yet on the MLS, let's say it's a 1% BAC that's being offered. If you can't get the other brokerage to cooperate and say they will pay more commission because maybe that's the listing agreement they have and they don't have the latitude to do that, the other way to do it is make it part of the purchase contract. Now, in the past, we've been instructing agents, don't ever negotiate BAC in the REPC because the REPC is an agreement between buyer and seller, not between agent and the seller. But we do have this vehicle where you can use it. And I know it seems similar, and it is similar, but it's done the correct way. If they were offering 1% BAC and your clients were on the hook to pay 3% if they close a deal, then we could use this document and say the seller agrees to pay, in this case, 2%, right? Because it says here this payment shall be made in addition to any other compensation offered on the by the seller's brokerage, right? And they're going to pay it to the buyer's brokerage. So in other words, the seller, to make this deal happen, is willing to pay some of the buyer's commitment to their brokerage or on behalf of them to their brokerage to make this deal happen. This is the third correct way to make those modifications. So those are the appropriate vehicles. Remember the differences between escrow instructions, addenda to the ERS and EBB, and the real estate brokerage payment addendum. And of course, if you have what you feel is a very unique situation, always reach out to your local broker or reach out to me and we'll see how we can help you. Thanks and have a great week.